Okay, this graph is looking at the aggregate demand, aggregate supply model in an inflationary gap situation. Again, we know that it's an inflationary gap because we look at the potential output, that is where the long run aggregate supply curve hits the horizontal axis. This tells us what the output would be if we were in full employment. And we look and see where we are currently, where the short run aggregate supply curve matches the demand curve. And we find here that the output is greater than potential. So we have inflationary pressure, we have an inflationary gap. And this situation can be resolved by one of, I guess, three ways. You can follow fiscal policy, that is trying to attempt to get aggregate demand to shift back to the left. And in order to do that, you would do things like increase taxes or decrease spending. You could also do monetary policy, which is typically raising interest rates. That would also have the effect of pushing aggregate demand to the left. Or you could let the economy sort of self-adjust, in which case what would happen is with the inflationary gap, we have more workers uh, than, sorry, we have more jobs than workers. We can't fill jobs fast enough. And so what you have here is essentially more than full employment. You have people who are not necessarily trained for the jobs, but so many jobs available that you have to put them in sort of a negative cyclical unemployment. And so as a result, there is upward pressure on wages because in order to keep my worker so that other people who have other jobs to offer them don't steal them away, I have to pay them a higher wage than was before. So this increase in wages pushes the cost of business up and would cause the short run aggregate supply curve to shift to the left, finding ourselves then um, at a higher price level than we had before, but again back at long run output or potential output. So those are the various ways that this particular gap would resolve itself or be resolved by government.